Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price right now as equity markets were all over the place today. Netflix down 35% for the day. That money's going to go somewhere. Bitcoin holding 40,000 strong, having a cup of coffee just below its 20-week moving average, building up momentum for its next move. There's a lot to discuss today, Snipers. And by the way, ApeCoin was up 25% with the move that Bitcoin saw to test 42,000. And for those in the Discord, once again, the best cryptocurrency trade signals on the internet. We did take a trade on ApeCoin, which has hit all targets. But let's talk about what's happening here to Bitcoin more importantly. We know altcoins will perform if the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is strong, which it currently is. We'll get to that in just a second. But right now, it looks like Bitcoin has not found its final destination. We've yet to get a 4-hour candle fully above 42,000, which we know is the major resistance. It's not a coincidence that we tested 42,000, got rejected for the first test. But because we're seeing Bitcoin have a cup of coffee still just below 42,000, I believe there's a strong likelihood that we're going to get the chance to get above 42,000, which at that point, we can start to test the 20-week moving average. And once we can get above 42,000, we'll start to talk about upside targets, but just expect momentum to come in once 42,000 is breached. Now, for the downside scenario, I will say this. If at any point in time Bitcoin gets below 40,000, then we can start talking about downside targets. But until we see, and if we see price action below 40,000, we cannot assume downside price action. We just want to start assuming that we've already formed the third higher low because now the weekly open is showing confluence with the 600-day moving average. 40,000 is a big even. We do not want to see Bitcoin come back down to 40,000. And as long as we stay above 40,000, I believe that we still have some more upside left on the table, and getting above that 20-week moving average will start to put the macro bias back in the bullish favor. So it's very clear that we're watching that. But let's talk about some revolving parts. Netflix down 35% for the day. We know when Facebook and PayPal sold off recently, Bitcoin was a beneficiary of that. Of course, in the markets, money doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Money just moves around. And if all of this capital's coming out of Netflix, we have to expect it's going to go somewhere. Let's hope that Bitcoin is a beneficiary of what happened to Netflix today. And then just notice how altcoins like ApeCoin, it had a daily candle of 25% upside when Bitcoin came to test 42,000. Not a surprise. I told you, Snipers, that when the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is in a bullish state, other altcoins will follow and do well as Bitcoin moves sideways. And so for those that took our long trade on ApeCoin, congratulations. We are monitoring the top 100 coins at all times. And so with the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart still showing us that it's in a position to see further upside, things look good for Bitcoin and the revolving parts. I will also say that the S&P 500 has been slightly neutral. I wouldn't call this bullish just yet. Until we can get above this monthly open, we'll start to talk about a bullish scenario. But I'm not necessarily too worried about what's happening to the equity markets right now. I would say it's quite calm, even with the DXY pushing up. Today was the first day we actually saw the DXY sort of find some resistance here at this area that we were expecting it to find resistance. I wouldn't say that we've already seen a confirmation of a reversal for the DXY, but let's just assume it's still in a strong uptrend. As if we look at the monthly candles, you can see we've only really seen green monthly candles over the last year. And so it is still in a very strong macro bullish uptrend. But the Euro to USD pairing did actually come back above this major support. That's not a surprise. Let's see how this reacts over the next few days. It was a big deal to breach back below this support after testing it once. And that right there, of course, would certainly cause some of the bulls to at least want to have a cup of coffee at this very important level. But what we're going to be watching is whether we see a continuation of this downside. That would assume the DXY has more room to see upside. But if we can start to see some decisiveness here, maybe we can rescue the support level. That would actually take a bearish puzzle piece and put it back onto the bullish end. But so far, we could say that this bearish puzzle piece is not confirmed yet. I know we talked about the Euro to USD support breaking being bearish, but because we're still having a cup of coffee here, let's just assume that there's a possibility of a reversal. So far, that's flipping back into the bullish side. So I think that it's quite clear right now that Bitcoin wants to make a move. I would say it's more bullish than bearish just based on on-chain analytics. as well as price action has been stronger than S&P 500, holding 40,000 strong. We have a pretty good range there. As long as 40,000 doesn't break, I don't believe that we should be worried about any downside scenarios at this point. Let's hope that we can conquer 42,000, get us above that 20-week moving average, and we'll start to talk about some momentum and some upside for Bitcoin. And with that, thank you all for tuning in to our midnight update. I know this is a quick update. Smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm if you support this four-dimensional content. And let's see what happens to Bitcoin over the next 24 to 48 hours. I'll definitely get a video out if we see either one of those scenarios play out above 42,000 or below 40,000. And so with that, thank you all for tuning in today once again. I will see you next time. Snipers.